Hello and welcome to the Smells Like Infinite Sadness podcast. I'm your host, Michael Taylor. For those of you who don't know, I run the website, smellslikeinfinitesadness.com. It's a blog covering the best alternative rock from the 80s and 90s up to present day. I'm a proud middle-aged Gen Xer who is still obsessed with the music of his youth and loves to talk about it. This week our guest is Tyson Todd Meade. He's best known as the frontman for the Chainsaw Kittens, who are one of the most underrated and amazing alternative bands of the 1990s. He was deeply influential in the genre, influencing everyone from Nirvana to the Smashing Pumpkins, and he's still putting out great music today with his new solo record, Robbie and the Nuclear Family, which was just released for Record Store Day via Jett Plastic Recordings. In addition to his musical output, Meade is stepping into the political arena, recently surprising his fans by announcing he's running for Congress to represent Oklahoma's 5th District. I spoke to Meade about jumping into politics, his new solo album, his recent Chainsaw Kittens reunion, and more. So sit back and enjoy, and I'll be back afterwards to play a track off the new album. So yeah, let's get right to it. So I know that you're going through a huge undertaking here. You're announcing you're running for the 5th seat in Oklahoma Congress. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, it's the United States Congress. It's the in Oklahoma, but it's the 5th District U.S. Congressional run. So it's national. It's Washington.
So when did you decide to do this? What were the factors that made you decide to do this? And yeah, just tell me how you kind of came to decide to throw your hat in the ring here.
Well, as I'm sure you've seen, that there was the huge teachers strike, and last week and the week before, and it just really hit me. Part of it was it just made me angry that the legislators and the governor and the people who are supposed to be serving the teachers was going against them and saying, oh, you shouldn't be earning a living wage. I mean, basically, that's what they were telling them. Oh, well, you don't deserve to earn a living wage. We're the 49th state in the nation for teacher pay. I don't even know who's last, but so that it just hit my heart. And then also that they organized so well, and so they were just so organized in such a nonviolent way, but they made themselves known, and they organized. I felt like they organized the right way, and so it was also an inspiration to me that hey, if you organize when we have to speak up and go, this has to change. We have to, the teachers who usually are the more passive members of our society, they came up and just really made their voices known. And even though, some people might think they lost because they didn't get what they wanted, and Oklahoma legislators and our governor, Mary Fallin, is still just doing everything in their power to not help the teachers at all. At the same time, even though people would say they lost, I think it's just the beginning, and that's why I'm running for Congress, is because I fortunately have a loud enough voice as a public persona that I can make I can help them, and I hope that others, rise up to the occasion too. But I know that I can, and my heart is telling me that's what I have to do, and I can't go against my heart.
And is it also part of a frustration? Because I mean, I know, Oklahoma, I live in Texas, so I mean, I'm in the same boat where you're, having progressive thoughts in a red state. And have you heard a lot of frustration from some teachers, I guess, who feel that they're just not being represented by the powers that be in the state?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the state seems to want to hold us back instead of move us forward. But the things I know from living here and from being around all the people I'm around, everyone really, for the most part, wants the same thing. They want the state to be a nice place to live. where your children will get a competitive education where they can go out in the world and succeed. I mean, it's just things that there's no downside to what we want. And it's, a few years ago, they brought in the lottery, and the lottery was going to pay for education. And what happened is they took the education funds away and said, oh yeah, it's just going to be lottery based. And they put those funds that they were using for education in other places. And it just seems to me like, it might be too late to like backpedal, but why didn't they wait until the lottery got to a certain level to, have it completely replace the funds because they already had those funds earmarked for education anyway. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just like, I feel like there is an apathy, as you know, which I've been as guilty of as anyone, because you feel like when you vote, you're just voting for another person who's a fast talker and isn't really serving your interests. So there never seems to be a candidate that wants to hear every voice. Like today, my postman came by and he is delivering my mail, and I'm always really friendly with him. His name's Reggie. He's just really, I just always try to, anyone that is in the neighborhood that I see every day, I try to talk to him, and I talk to him every day. And today I asked him about his health insurance. I was like, are you happy with your health insurance as a state employee? And at first he was like, yeah, it's okay. And then I said, I'm not checking on you. I'm serving you. I serve you. You don't serve me. And then once he knew that I wasn't, trying to, trick him up or something, he went on for 10 minutes about the outrageousness of his health insurance and how you have to jump through all these hoops. And I just want to make everything transparent. Like when it comes to health insurance, when it comes to budgets, I just want more transparency in the government as well. And so people know exactly what's going on. And that's very unpopular with politicians because it's it's just a constant shell game. It seems like,
Mm-hmm. And I know that, you mentioned in your email to me, this whole thing's been kind of like jumping out of an airplane. Can you tell me how it's kind of impacted you personally and like your family? What's going to be kind of the response you're beginning, and also from like your supporters and friends? What has it felt like so far as the feedback that you're getting and just your own personal feelings about?
Okay. Well, when I told Wayne Coyne, from the Flaming Lips lives across the street. And when I first told him, I said, hey, Wayne, I had just announced my candidacy. And I said, hey, Wayne, I'm running for U.S. Congress. And his first response was, why would you want an awful job like that? That's an awful job. Why would you even want to do that? And I told him, my heart's not giving me a choice. And he said, well, I fully support you. And so in that regard, I think I've short-circuited a few brains because it's so not what it's completely left. It's a complete left turn of what I would ever do. And the one thing, I guess how it's affected me the most is I'm getting a quick education in what's going on in Oklahoma with, we were the fourth largest human trafficking place because there's three major interstates that intersect in Oklahoma City. We were starting to have prison reform, but not enough. We need more prison reform because the prisons are privatized and they're making money off of having inmates. So the more inmates they have, the more money they make, which is nuts. And there's just so many problems that you don't know about on the periphery that you learn when as in this position, I've learning about all this, and then I'm learning a lot of things going on internationally. I just talked to a retired U.S. diplomat, and he gave me like all this information internationally that I think is really valuable. And then there's also, John Boehner, the retired U.S. House Speaker, who's Republican, just endorsed marijuana. So, marijuana, like legalizing marijuana, because it's a $70 billion industry. And that's one of my big, I want to legalize marijuana. We look at those states like Colorado and Washington and places where it's legal, and there's just so much money and jobs and such coming into those states. And there's not a big enough downside to say, oh, we shouldn't do this,
And so you mentioned you got education, a living wage, healthcare. You just mentioned things. Is there anything else that's on your platform that you're striving for, that you want to make a part of your core message?
Another part of my core message would be transparency in the government, where we know more what's going on, where people aren't kept in the dark about. I mean, I know there's places you can go to find it, but I want to be able to be the guy that can go to town hall meetings and say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm trying to do what I can for everyone, and I want to do what I can for everyone. This is what's happening in our government. I think you should know. And I want to be, I also want to be as impartial as possible. I'm running as a Democrat, but I really feel that even the Republicans, we really all want the same thing. So I would like to bring unity as well to the government. And I don't know if that's an impossible task, but I would like for the Democrats and the Republicans to work closer together more, and I know, because it seems like there's so much, there's just so much maliciousness between the two parties, and I don't think I would like to try to, diffuse that if I can.
And do you also think, I kind of see that there's been such a backlash to Trump because, he obviously won the election, but he's been so polarizing and so uniformly unpopular. And you see so many women getting into elections now. And so,
absolutely.
Do you feel that's kind of almost had like a positive backlash as far as people are saying, we're not going to stick with this, being told we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You're not going to tell me how to live my life, and kind of having a.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone is going, you can't, and with that as well, I think that brings up another, I have my platform, but then I have all the things that I want to push for, and that's everyone has a voice, Muslims, Blacks, Native Americans, whites, Hispanics, everyone has a voice, and it's not just a core group. And I really want to push for that. I also want to investigate the incarceration rate of women and how they are pushed. A lot of times they feel like they have no. I'm not women, men too. I don't want to be accused of sexism, but how people are pushed into doing like the human trafficking, where the way the laws are, if you with drugs, you get like a life sentence. If you're trafficking humans, you get 2 or 3 years. And so there is this and there's simple things we can do with literacy, like partnering private companies with public companies, private companies to sponsor these like literacy programs and really step up on that and give kids from the beginning a fighting chance so they don't wind up in prison later. And so the teachers don't have as many problem children in the classrooms and that sort of thing, And
I guess one of the worst necessities of being in politics, from everything that I've read, is of course is the fundraising aspect. That's
yes.
So have you started getting into dipping your toes into those waters, and have you kind of decided on how you're going to approach that?
Yeah, I have, and I've told my team. I have a really great team put together, and I've told them. Now that all this is happening, I pace a lot. I am pacing a whole lot. But I've told my team that I would rather lose with love than win with hate. So, and that goes with fundraising too. We would rather we won't take the money that we feel is dirty money, as opposed to I'm not necessarily on the fundraising side of it because I have people doing that, but I will be going and having dinners with people here and there. And that actually, some of that is fundraising, but a lot of that is I want to have dinners with anyone who wants to have me for dinner just so I can talk about what I want to do. And I want to be a very public, a very public person about my campaign because I don't want to hide anything. I want my campaign to be very transparent too.
And, since you're going headfirst into politics, you've had, some years of being a musician, you've even been a teacher, but, music's been kind of your first love. Are you kind of concerned to how you're going to balance that or if you're even going to approach that, or what do you think? You've given any thought as to how to keep those two worlds, spinning?
To me, it's like Elvis went into the army and it's kind of the same difference. I'm going to go into this, and if it turns out that I'm needed more for my state and maybe for my government, then, if it becomes that's where I'm needed, then I will gladly serve because I feel like I'm in a position where, I'm so grateful for the place that I am, that I want to return the favor to my Oklahoma has always been very kind to me even from the beginning. And I just feel like it's my turn to be even kinder or as kind to Oklahoma, I guess,
And you were mentioning earlier that in addition to this, you've got your album, You're Robbing the Nuclear Family, coming out. So when is that official launch date, and how has that been going as far as getting that ready to?
Well, it's been really great because it's an official Record Store Day release, and it comes out on the 21st, Record Store Day. And, I with my albums, I never do really this big, like, I never do this big whatever, like, oh, it's here. I just, kind of put them out and let them lead their life. And if people like it, that makes me happy. But if people don't hear it, well, maybe someday they will, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this record,
And I know that last year you guys got together for some Chainsaw Kitten performances. Was that a lot of fun to get to do that and to kind of revisit that era?
Yeah. It was bittersweet because we lost Eric, our drummer, but there was a real beautiful, I guess a real beautiful sheen or whatever to it, because Eric and I, we'd all, I talked to Trent, our guitar player, about every few days or so, but Eric and Matt, our drummer and bass player, I don't talk to as often. And Eric and I love him, but we lost touch because not lost touch, but weren't really talking. And then he he got sick, and he got sick, and then he got real sick, and we thought he would survive. We didn't know he was as sick as he was, but a week before he passed away, I got to spend 3 hours with him, and I got to tell him what he meant to me and how much I loved him and how the Kittens wouldn't be the Kittens without him. And we just got to have that conversation that a lot of times you don't get with someone you love that has been such a huge part of your life. And so it cast a bit of a shadow over the performance because he didn't play, and Trent found a drummer that he records with a lot to replace Eric in the performance, and we didn't want to cancel because we'd already committed, but without Eric, it's just not the Kittens, and Ty Clark, the drummer, he did really great, but the Chainsaw Kittens is Eric. He even though he wasn't on the first two records, when he came in, it cemented our sound into just the powerful, knock 'em dead kind of sound that he gave it.
And so, did that make it kind of challenging to perform without him? Was it really emotional?
Yeah, it was emotional and challenging, and Trent. And Ty, the replacement drummer, they practiced that we would all practice, because Ty came in like 3 days before we were to perform, and so they would practice until 1 or 2 at night, just going through, making sure that Ty knew all the changes. So yeah, it was challenging. I mean, I'm glad we did it, but it also, with this whole campaign that I'm going through, I've had all these sorts of last minute, like, okay, we've got to figure out this at the last minute. We've got to readjust this at the last minute. So in a way, everything I've done before, that, being an educator in New York and then in China for over 10 years, all of this really does feed into what I'm doing now, which is I never would have predicted it or thought that this is what would happen, but it all, in this cosmic way, seems to be working out in this weird cosmic way perfectly,
And so, if you had to, I guess, pin it down to two things, what is the thing you're most excited about as far as jumping into this political arena? And what is the thing that I guess you're most concerned about, or probably the least thing that you're looking forward to as far as this is concerned?
I think what I'm most excited about is that maybe I really have a chance to make a change, because I have so many people behind me, and I want to. I'm going into it with a pure heart, and not from a political career standpoint. That if it happens where I'm needed, and I stay, or whatever happens, win, lose, I just feel like it's exciting to get this chance, and that people believe in me enough that they want to give me the chance to at least run, and then. The hard part, of course, is just trying to keep my the even temper and not and when people are not necessarily very nice, I want to still try to take the high road. Just always taking the high road is absolutely what I want to do. But since I have been in, like in the Kittens, I've had, people say, nasty things about me or whatever. And there you can respond however, but in politics, in this, when I'm a public servant, I feel like, okay, I love how Obama would respond when he would be attacked or whatever. I want to have that, no matter what you think of him as a president or as a person, I think his whole demeanor is something that all of us should strive for, and even everyday life, non-politician. I just think he has a real sort of class to him that we need to, bring back to politics.
Absolutely. It's certainly missed right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting the exact opposite of that at the moment.
Yeah. And so, and with that, this is a joke, but I'm going to push for a Objectify Man Day, since women are objectified so often. I'm saying, well, maybe it's the men's turn to get objectified for once,
And you mentioned your album again. Are you planning any other musical project at the moment, or is this strictly you're going into politics and you're not really going to even try to even think about anything musically until this is kind of settled?
Well, I actually have a soundtrack for a film coming out too that I totally forgot about, and that is really for the most part finished, and so that'll come out while I'm in office, and it's sort of a political film, which was not in any it's like all this stuff that's unplanned sounds like it's totally planned in conjunction with what I'm doing, and it's just like this cosmic coincidence.
And can you talk about the film at all? When is that coming out? Or
it's still getting like the final sort of, all the post-production things are being figured out. And so I don't really know. I'll have more information later. So I don't really want to say anything about it yet until, because it's my friend Keshav, who I met him because of the film, but he's the director, and I don't want to say anything without him approving me, all of that stuff. But I will definitely, you'll definitely be in the loop on that one.
Excellent. Well, I guess that pretty much covers all my questions. Is there anything else you want to say to people as far as, the new album coming out and as far as what they can do regarding your campaign, like a website to go to or
Yeah. I have a crowd pack. Just go to crowdpack.com, crowdpac.com, and do a Tyson Todd Meade search in there, and that's where you can donate to my fund. And, then I have on Facebook, I'm Tyson Todd Meade for Congress. And, really, the thing that I really would like to stress is for anyone who's not happy with the current situation, we need to there's been marches, there's been demonstrations, and whatever it is that you do to make a difference, all of us should try to make a difference and not let the people who are running things run things, because I also feel like, when we had the school shooting in Florida, I just was so proud, of the millennials and how they handled that, the students there, and how they handled that. And they were, attacked by the conservative media, and it just like everything that's going on has added to my, I want to go in and change, and I want to be, I also want to be the guy who represents the millennials that because I think they are such a, I think they're obviously going to form the future, but I really have such hope for them, because they really they have, one thing I've noticed is that in school, a lot of my kids or my friends' kids are competitive in school with their grades, which was something that I never was. And that seems to be a thing. Like they compete to see who can get the best grades, And I wasn't doing that at all when I was that age.
Yeah, me neither. Well, all right. So I wish you the best of luck. If I could vote in Oklahoma, I would. But all the best. Thanks for talking to me today.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, have a great day. Thanks, Tyson.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I enjoyed talking to Tyson today. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to that as well. You can order Tyson's new album, Robbing the Nuclear Family, on JettPlasticsRecording.com. And you can donate to his congressional campaign by visiting crowdpack.com/campaigns/382971/Tyson Todd Meade. All right, we'll wrap up today with the new song off the new album. It's called He's the Candy. It's a really cool rockin' track, and I'll leave you with that and talk to you guys next week.